The thing about photographing high school football games is that nobody notices you. You're just the guy with the camera, invisible behind the lens, watching everything while everyone else watches the game. That Friday night in September, I wish I'd stayed invisible. I'd been shooting sports photography for the Sarasota Herald for 3 years, side work that paid better than my architectural shoots. The air was thick with humidity and the smell of concession stand popcorn. Stadium lights turned the field into a stage, and I was documenting Marcus Tolliver's team, the Sarasota Stingrays, as they crushed the visiting Tampa Bay Warriors. Marcus had been my best friend since college. He stood on the sideline, headset on, calling plays with the intensity of someone coaching the Super Bowl instead of a bunch of 17-year-olds. I zoomed in, captured him mid-shout, his face contorted with passion. Then I panned across the crowd for atmosphere shots. That's when Marcus's voice cut through my concentration. "Hey, David!" He was looking up at the bleachers, his expression strange. "I think that's your wife on the next bleacher over." My stomach dropped before I even turned the camera. Nicole was supposed to be in Orlando, a marketing conference for Meridian Resorts, the luxury hotel chain where she worked as senior marketing director. She'd left that morning with her rolling suitcase and her rehearsed kiss on my cheek. 3 days, babe. I'll miss you." I swung my Canon 70-200mm lens toward the visitor section, and the world telescoped down to a single devastating frame. Nicole sat on some man's lap. Not beside him. On him. His hands were on her waist, one sliding up toward her ribs. She wore the blue sundress I'd always loved, and she was laughing, her head thrown back in a way she hadn't laughed with me in months. The man was older, maybe mid-40s, with silver temples and expensive aviator sunglasses pushed up on his head. His polo shirt was Ralph Lauren. His watch caught the stadium lights, probably worth more than my truck. I pressed the shutter. Click, click, click. Through the viewfinder, I watched him whisper something in her ear. She turned, and they kissed. Not a peck, a real kiss, the kind that made the teenagers around them uncomfortable enough to look away. I kept shooting. My hands were steady. That's the funny thing about shock. It makes you mechanical. Then I zoomed in closer on his face, trying to place him. Mid-40s, strong jaw, that particular confidence that comes with money and power. And then it clicked. Blake Morrison, regional vice president at Meridian Resorts, Nicole's boss. The camera captured the moment their lips parted. Nicole opened her eyes first, glancing around with the paranoid awareness of someone who knows they're doing something wrong. Her gaze swept across the field and landed directly on me. Even from 100 yards away, I saw her face go white. Our eyes met across the Friday night lights, husband and wife, and for one crystalline moment, everything was perfectly clear. She knew I'd seen her. I knew she knew, and she knew I was holding a camera. She shoved away from Blake, stood up so fast she nearly fell. He grabbed for her arm, confused, but she yanked free and scrambled down the bleachers, pushing past families with popcorn buckets and couples holding hands. I lowered the camera. Marcus appeared beside me. "Was that—" "Yeah," I said. My voice sounded normal. Weird how that works. "Man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." "Not your fault." I checked the LCD screen on my camera. The images were perfect, sharp, well-exposed, incriminating. Blake Morrison's face clear as day. Nicole's dress, her jewelry, everything identifiable. Timestamp, 7:47 p.m., September 15th. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. Nicole. "At conference dinner, boring speeches. Miss you, home Sunday, love you." The message had been sent at 7:45 p.m., 2 minutes before I photographed her kissing another man. Marcus was watching me, his face creased with worry. On the field, his team scored another touchdown, and the Sarasota section erupted in cheers. Life going on like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. "You okay?" Marcus asked. "I need to go home," I said. "Want me to come with you?" "No. Finish the game, I'll call you later. I packed my gear with the same methodical precision I used for everything. Lens cap on, camera in bag, batteries secured. My hands still weren't shaking. I felt cold, like I'd been dunked in ice water and hauled back out, everything sharp-edged and crystalline. Walking to my truck in the parking lot, I heard footsteps running behind me. David, wait! I turned. Nicole was sprinting across the asphalt, her sundress catching the parking lot lights. Her mascara had started to run. She'd been crying. Good. I can explain, she gasped, reaching for my arm. I stepped back. Orlando's 3 hours away. That's a hell of a commute for a conference dinner. It's not. It was. She was breathing hard, panicked. Please, can we just talk about this at home? We'll talk at home, I agreed. I opened my truck door. David, please. I said we'll talk at home, Nicole. I drove away, watching her in the rearview mirror, standing alone under the parking lot lights in that blue sundress, getting smaller and smaller. At home, I moved through our beach house like a ghost. Small place, 1,500 square feet, but we'd bought it together 5 years ago when we still liked each other. 2 bedrooms, open concept, floor-to-ceiling windows facing the Gulf. Nicole had wanted something bigger, flashier, but this was what we could afford on a photographer's income and her marketing coordinator salary. Before the promotions, before Blake Morrison. I found her iPad on the kitchen counter, plugged in and charging. Nicole was careless with technology, same password for everything. Her birthday, followed by our anniversary year. I'd set up her iCloud account myself 3 years ago when she'd upgraded devices. She'd never bothered to learn how it all synced. I opened messages. There were texts to me, to her mother, to her best friend Ronnie, and there was a conversation thread labeled simply B. I scrolled up and up and up. The affair had been going on for 6 months, since March. B. Dinner tomorrow, I need to see you. Nicole. Can't. David's home, maybe Thursday? B. I'm going crazy thinking about you. Nicole. Me too, but we have to be careful. I kept scrolling, my chest getting tighter. Nicole. I told David I'm working late. Ronnie's covering for me if he calls. B. You're incredible. When are you going to leave him? Nicole. Soon, I promise. I just need to figure out the logistics. B. He doesn't appreciate you. Not like I do. Nicole. I know. He's so content with everything. His little photography business, our little house. I can't breathe here. The messages got worse, more explicit, more cruel. Nicole. David's clueless. He never fights, never questions anything. He'll probably just accept it when I leave. B. Good. Then you can finally be with someone on your level. I heard the garage door open. Nicole's Lexus, bought with her promotion money, pulling in. I grabbed the Apple TV remote and airplayed her iPad to our television. Her message thread with Blake Morrison filled the 65-inch screen, scrolling automatically, an endless cascade of betrayal displayed in blue and gray bubbles. Nicole walked through the door, and I watched her face as she saw the TV. She froze. David. 6 months, I said. I was sitting on the couch, very calm. Since March. That's when the late meetings started. I can explain. Blake Morrison, Regional VP, your boss. That's who you were sitting on at the game. That's who you've been texting about leaving me for. She started crying, real sobs this time, not the fake tears from the parking lot. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen. I stood up. For 6 months. While you slept in our bed, while you kissed me goodbye every morning, while you told me you loved me. I do love you. Don't. My voice cut through her crying. Don't insult both of us. She wiped her face, smearing mascara across her cheeks. What do you want me to say? That I'm a terrible person? Fine. I'm a terrible person. But I made a mistake, and I want to fix this. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. Did you work through it with him? I gestured at the TV, where her messages continued scrolling. Did you discuss our marriage with Blake while he was inside you? She flinched. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference. Nicole's face shifted then, something hardening behind her eyes. The scared, apologetic wife disappeared, replaced by the woman who'd climbed the corporate ladder at Meridian. Fine. You want honesty? I'll give you honesty. I've been unhappy for years. You never want more. You never push for anything. You're content to be mediocre, and I'm not. I need someone ambitious, someone who wants what I want. Blake Morrison is married with 2 kids. He's getting a divorce. Is that what he told you? I laughed, a sound that didn't feel like it came from me. Nicole, he's not leaving his wife. Men like Blake Morrison never do. You don't know him. I know men like him. They collect women like trophies and go home to their families every night. She grabbed her purse from the counter. I'm not doing this tonight. I'm going to stay with Ronnie, and tomorrow we're going to have a calm, adult conversation about this. No. She stopped. What? I walked to our bedroom, pulled her suitcase from the closet, the same one she'd taken to fake Orlando, and started packing her clothes, dresses, shoes, toiletries, everything grabbed in armfuls and thrown in. What are you doing? Nicole followed me, her voice rising. David, stop it! You're leaving tonight. Take what you can carry. I'll pack the rest and have it sent to Ronnie's. You can't just throw me out. Watch me. This is my house too. I have rights. Her voice went shrill. You can't afford a lawyer, David. I make 3 times your salary. You want to fight this? I'll bury you in legal fees. I'll take everything. I zipped the suitcase closed and looked at her. Really looked at her. This woman I'd loved since college, who I'd married in a beach ceremony 8 years ago, who I'd built a life with, and I felt nothing but cold clarity. I don't need a lawyer, I said quietly. Something in my tone made her step back. I rolled the suitcase to the front door. Your car's in the garage. Take your things and go. David, please. Get out of my house, Nicole. She stood there, mascara streaked and shaking, and I saw the exact moment she realized I wasn't going to bend. She grabbed the suitcase handle, her hand trembling. You're going to regret this, she said. When you're alone in this house, when you realize what you threw away. I threw away nothing. You did that 6 months ago. She left. I locked the door behind her and returned to the living room. Her iPad was still connected to the TV, messages still scrolling. I screenshotted everything, every message, every photo, every incriminating conversation. Then I opened my laptop and started researching Blake Morrison. Nicole's Lexus taillights disappeared down our street at 12:17 a.m. I noted the time out of habit. Photographers measure everything in timestamps. I sat in the dark living room, laptop screen casting blue light across my face, and learned everything I could about the man who'd been sleeping with my wife. Blake Anthony Morrison, age 42. Harvard MBA, class of 2009. Regional vice president at Meridian Resorts, overseeing operations from Tampa to Miami. Before Meridian, he'd worked for Ritz-Carlton, then Four Seasons. His career trajectory read like a case study in corporate ambition, always climbing, never satisfied. Married to Jennifer Morrison, née Caldwell, for 16 years, 2 children, ages 12 and 9. They lived in a waterfront estate in Longboat Key, assessed value $3.2 million. Blake drove a Porsche 911. Jennifer drove a Range Rover. I found his LinkedIn, his Facebook, his Instagram. The photos showed a carefully curated life. Yacht club memberships, charity galas, family ski trips to Aspen. Blake in a tuxedo, arm around Jennifer at some fundraiser. Blake on a golf course, mid-swing. Blake with his kids at Disney World. And then I found the Tampa Bay Business Journal article from 2019. Meridian Resorts settles harassment claim quietly. The article was brief, carefully worded, legally sanitized. A former female executive had filed a complaint against an unnamed senior manager. The case settled out of court for an undisclosed sum. The executive had signed an NDA. But the comments section told a different story, people who'd worked at Meridian speculating about who it was, using initials and careful phrasing. BM in the regional office. Everyone knew, but nobody could say anything. Happened before, will happen again. I screenshotted the article. Then I opened a photo editing program and started organizing my evidence. The pictures from the football game were damning. Blake's face crystal clear, Nicole on his lap, the kiss captured in perfect focus. I created a timeline document, matching Nicole's fake conference schedule against her actual location. I compiled the text messages, printing them out with timestamps and dates highlighted. By 3 a.m., I had 3 separate evidence packages. Package 1, for Jennifer Morrison. Photos of Blake and Nicole, plus the screenshots of their text messages discussing his divorce. I included the harassment article for context. Package 2, for Meridian Resorts, Human Resources. A formal ethics violation report, complete with photos, messages, and documentation of a superior engaging in a relationship with a direct subordinate. The kind of thing that violated every corporate policy. Package 3, my backup, everything, every photo, every message, every piece of evidence, stored in 3 separate cloud accounts. I was addressing envelopes when headlights swept across my living room window. A truck I didn't recognize parked in my driveway. Then I saw the coaching logo on the door. It was the school's athletic department vehicle. Marcus climbed out, still wearing his Stingrays polo from the game. I opened the door before he could knock. "It's 3 a.m, I said. "Yeah, well, my best friend caught his wife cheating, and then he went radio silent for 7 hours. What did you expect?" Marcus pushed past me into the house, saw the laptop and papers spread across the coffee table. "Jesus Christ, David, what are you doing?" "Research." He picked up one of the printed photo sheets. Nicole and Blake at the game, captured mid-kiss. "This is evidence for a divorce lawyer, right? Please tell me you're just organizing evidence for a divorce." "Blake Morrison," I said, ignoring his question. "Harvard MBA, regional VP, makes probably $400,000 a year. Married, 2 kids, lives in Longboat Key in a house worth more than we'll make in our lifetimes combined." "So he's rich and successful. Doesn't change what he did." "No, but it matters." I sat down, gesturing at the research spread across the table. "Men like Blake Morrison don't face consequences. They settle lawsuits quietly. They write checks. They move on. That article from 2019, he harassed some woman, got her fired, paid her off, and nobody knows except people who can't say anything." Marcus was quiet for a moment, studying me. "Where's Nicole?" "At Ronnie's. I threw her out." "Good." He sat down across from me. "Look, man, I know you're hurt. I know you're angry. But whatever you're planning here," he gestured at the evidence packages, "don't do something you can't walk back from." "I'm not planning anything illegal." "That's not what I asked." I met his eyes. Marcus Tolliver had been my friend for 15 years. We'd been roommates in college, best man at each other's weddings. He knew me better than anyone. "Blake Morrison has a wife who thinks he's faithful," I said, "an employer who thinks he's ethical, a reputation he's carefully built. And all of that is based on a lie. I'm just going to tell the truth. David, he came to my house, Marcus." That stopped him. "What?" "While you were finishing the game, while I was driving home, Blake Morrison figured out who I was. He looked me up, found my address, and he came to my house." "What did he do?" "Nothing. I didn't answer the door, but he stood on my porch for 5 minutes, ringing the doorbell. I watched him through the window. He wanted to intimidate me. Wanted to show up at my home and make sure I understood who I was dealing with." "Did you call the cops?" "No. Because that's not how men like Blake Morrison operate. He doesn't need to threaten me directly. He just needs to remind me that he's powerful and I'm not, that he has resources and lawyers and connections, that I should be smart and stay quiet." Marcus rubbed his face, exhausted. So what are you going to do? I'm going to be smart, I said, just not the way he expects. We sat in silence for a while, the laptop humming softly between us. You're different, Marcus finally said. Since you saw her tonight, you're cold. Yeah, that scares me. It scares me too, I admitted. But the guy I was this morning, the one who believed his wife when she said she was going to Orlando, that guy's gone. Blake Morrison and Nicole made sure of that. Just don't do anything that ends with you in a cell. I won't. He didn't look convinced, but he stood up, clapped my shoulder. Call me, whatever you need, but please, think about whether this is worth it. After he left, I addressed the envelopes. Package 1 to Jennifer Morrison's home address. I'd found it through property records. Package 2 to Meridian Resorts corporate HR in Miami. Both scheduled for Thursday delivery, 3 days away. Enough time to make sure I'd covered every angle. I was sealing the FedEx envelopes when my doorbell rang. 4:30 a.m. I looked through the window. Blake Morrison stood on my porch, backlit by the sunrise starting to pearl the horizon. He wore khakis and a button-down, like he'd gotten dressed specifically to come here. His Porsche gleamed in my driveway, probably waking up the whole neighborhood. I opened the door. Mr. Marsh, Blake said, his voice smooth, practiced, corporate. I apologize for the early hour, but I think we need to have a conversation, man to man. I leaned against the doorframe, said nothing. Blake smiled, the kind of smile that probably worked in boardrooms. May I come in? No. The smile flickered. Look, I understand you're upset. What I saw tonight was my wife on your lap at a high school football game. What I saw was you kissing her. What I photographed was evidence of a 6-month affair between a regional VP and his direct subordinate, which violates about 17 different corporate ethics policies. His face went carefully blank. You photographed it. I'm a professional photographer, Mr. Morrison. It's what I do. Those photos are mine, along with 6 months of text messages between you and Nicole, discussing everything from hotel room reservations to how clueless I am. Blake's jaw tightened. What do you want? I want you to leave my property. Is this about money? Because I don't want your money. Then what? I smiled, and it felt like a stranger's expression on my face. I want you to understand something, Mr. Morrison. You made a mistake tonight. You got sloppy. You took my wife to a public place where anyone could see you. You got comfortable. And that comfort? That's going to cost you everything. Are you threatening me? I'm explaining consequences. There's a difference. Blake stepped forward, trying to use his height advantage. He had 3 inches on me. You don't know who you're dealing with. Blake Anthony Morrison, Regional Vice President, Meridian Resorts, Harvard MBA, married to Jennifer Caldwell Morrison, 2 kids, ages 12 and 9. Settled a harassment lawsuit in 2019 for approximately $200,000. Currently having an affair with at least one subordinate, possibly more. I watched his face pale. I know exactly who I'm dealing with. Do you? He opened his mouth, closed it. The practiced corporate smile was gone, replaced by something uglier. You just made a very stupid mistake coming here, I continued. Because now I know you're worried. Now I know you're scared enough to show up at my house twice in 6 hours. And that tells me everything I need to know about how this is going to end. This isn't over, Blake said, but his voice had lost its authority. You're right. It's not. But when it is, you're going to wish you'd stayed home tonight. He turned and walked back to his Porsche, moving fast, no longer trying to intimidate me. I watched him drive away, tires squealing slightly on the turn out of my development. Then I went inside and scheduled both FedEx packages for pickup that morning. The sun was rising over the Gulf, painting the sky orange and pink, and I felt nothing but cold certainty. Blake Morrison had underestimated me. So had Nicole. They'd assumed I was too weak, too compliant, too boring to fight back. They were about to learn different. Thursday morning, I borrowed a truck from Derek Fan, my young assistant who helped with wedding shoots on weekends. Derek was 23, fresh out of art school, eager to learn, and crucially, he asked no questions when I told him I needed to borrow his Ford F-150 for a few days. Equipment transport, I explained, which wasn't entirely a lie. Blake Morrison knew my silver Toyota Tacoma, but he wouldn't recognize Derek's truck, and at 7 a.m. I was parked across the street from Blake's office building in downtown Sarasota, camera ready. Blake arrived at 7:43, Porsche sliding into his reserved spot. He looked terrible. Rumpled suit, no tie, dark circles under his eyes. He'd probably been up all night, just like me, except his insomnia came from fear, not planning. I photographed him entering the building, time-stamped and dated. Then I waited. At 9:15, a woman arrived, mid-20s, blonde, expensive handbag. She parked near Blake's Porsche, checked her makeup in her rearview mirror, then walked inside. I zoomed in, employee badge visible, first name Ashley. At 10:30, Blake and Ashley left together. Not for a meeting, their body language was too familiar. They went to a cafe 3 blocks away, sat outside, too close for colleagues. Blake touched her hand across the table. She laughed at something he said, the same way Nicole had laughed at the football game. I photographed everything. They returned to the office at 11:45. Ashley went in first, Blake following 5 minutes later. Separate arrivals, plausible deniability. By noon, I had 30 photos of Blake with Ashley, plus location data, timestamps, and enough circumstantial evidence to suggest this wasn't their first lunch together. I drove to a FedEx office, printed a third evidence package. The packages I'd sent Tuesday were scheduled for delivery that afternoon. Jennifer Morrison's at her home, Meridian HR's at their Miami headquarters. I'd tracked them obsessively, watching the delivery status update. Out for delivery, both arriving between 2:05 p.m. At 2:47 p.m., my phone rang. Nicole. I answered. What? What did you do? Her voice was shrill, panicked. David, what the hell did you do? I don't know what you're talking about. HR called me into a meeting. They have photos, David. Photos of me and Blake at that game. Screenshots of our messages. Did they now? And Blake's wife showed up at the office. His wife, David. She was screaming in the parking lot about him cheating. Sounds like a rough day for Blake. You sent them. You sent everything to his wife and to HR. I have no idea what you're talking about, Nicole. I've been working all day. Don't lie to me. Who else would... Maybe Blake has other enemies. Have you considered that? Maybe he's hurt other people. Or maybe... I paused. Jennifer Morrison finally got tired of her husband collecting women half his age. Nicole was crying now, ugly sobs. They're investigating both of us. They said if there's proof of a relationship between a VP and his direct report, we could both be fired. Blake could lose everything. Then I guess Blake should have thought about that before he put his hands on you at a public football game. I'm begging you to stop whatever you planned. Please, David, I know I hurt you, but this is too much. Blake's life is falling apart. His wife is not my problem. David, if you'd left quietly when I asked, maybe I would have let it go. Maybe I would have been the nice guy who just signed the divorce papers and moved on. But you threatened me, Nicole. You told me you'd bury me in legal fees, take everything I had. You made this personal. I was angry. I didn't mean... Yes, you did. And now there are consequences. What else did you send? David, please, just tell me what else. I hung up. My phone rang 6 more times. I ignored it. At 4:30 p.m., Blake called from a number I didn't recognize. I answered. You smug piece of... Blake's voice was raw, furious. My wife is filing for divorce. HR is investigating me. Do you have any idea what you've done? I sent proof of an affair and ethics violations to the appropriate parties, that's all. That's all? That's all? You sent photos to my wife, at our home. My kids saw the package. Your kids were going to find out eventually, Blake. At least this way, Jennifer gets to control the narrative. I'm going to bury you. I have lawyers. I have money. You're finished. Actually, Blake, I think you'll find that threatening someone over the phone isn't a great idea when your entire professional life is under investigation. But thanks for calling. I'm recording this, by the way. I wasn't recording, didn't need to, but the silence on the other end told me Blake believed it. Stay away from me, he finally said. Stay away from Nicole. Stay away from my family. Gladly, as long as you stay away from mine. I paused. Oh, wait. You already destroyed mine. Guess we're even. He hung up. I sat in Derek's truck, parked outside the Captiva Meridian Resort, a luxury property on Captiva Island, where Meridian's regional management was holding their quarterly retreat. I'd known about this retreat for months. Nicole had complained about having to attend, said it was mandatory for senior staff. Blake's Porsche was in the parking garage, level 3. Nicole's Lexus was 2 rows over. I'd arrived Friday evening, checked into a basic room I couldn't really afford, and positioned myself to watch. Not to confront, just to observe, to let them know I could reach them anywhere. At 7:15 p.m., I saw them. Blake and Nicole exiting the hotel separately, heading toward the parking garage. They thought they were being clever, staggering their exits by 3 minutes. I followed, camera in hand, staying in the shadows. They met between their cars, voices echoing off concrete. "This is your fault," Blake was saying, his voice sharp. "You said he was spineless. You said he'd never fight back." "I didn't know he'd—" Blake grabbed her arm, hard enough to make her wince. "You told me he was nobody, a photographer, someone who'd just sign papers and disappear." "Blake, you're hurting me." "I'm hurting you? I'm hurting you?" His voice rose. "My wife is taking my house. HR is putting me on leave. The board wants me gone. And it's all because you couldn't keep your mouth shut." Then he hit her. Not a punch, but an open-handed across her face, the sound cracking through the garage. Nicole stumbled backward against her Lexus, hand to her cheek, shocked. I photographed it. The raised hand, the impact, Nicole's face twisted in pain and surprise. Blake saw the flash. His head whipped toward me, eyes wild. "You—" I stepped out of the shadows, camera still raised. "Touch her again, and I'll make sure every news outlet in Florida has these photos by morning." Nicole saw me, and her face crumbled. "David!" "Go to your room, Nicole. Now!" She ran, heels clicking on concrete, leaving Blake and me alone in the parking garage. Blake's hands were shaking. From rage or fear, I couldn't tell. "You're stalking us." "I'm documenting abuse. Big difference." "That was nothing. She deserved—" "Careful," I said quietly. "Because right now I have photos of a regional VP hitting a subordinate in a company parking garage during a corporate retreat. That's not just ethics violations. That's assault. And unlike affairs, which can be explained away, assault is criminal." Blake's face went gray. "What do you want?" "I want you to understand that every move you make, I'm watching. Every threat you make, I'm recording. Every time you think you're safe, I'll be there. Not because I'm stalking you, because you destroyed my life, and now I'm going to watch you pay for it." "You're insane." "No, I'm just not the guy you thought I was." Nicole made the same mistake. I walked past him toward the elevator, leaving him standing between his Porsche and my wife's Lexus, both vehicles representing a life that was crumbling around him. My phone buzzed as the elevator doors closed. Unknown number. "Nice work, but don't think you're untouchable. 2 can play surveillance games." Attached was a photo of my house, taken from the street, time-stamped 30 minutes ago. Blake's message was clear. He knew where I lived, and he wanted me to know he could reach me too. I smiled and saved the photo. Another piece of evidence. The elevator opened on the lobby level, and I walked out into the tropical evening air, past families in swimsuits, couples holding cocktails, tourists laughing about their day at the beach. None of them knew that upstairs in their beautiful resort, a regional VP was having a breakdown in the parking garage, and a marriage that had started with promises in front of the Gulf of Mexico was ending in surveillance photos and threats. The old me would have felt bad about that. The old me would have second-guessed every decision, worried about going too far. But the old me remained at that football match, watching his wife kiss another man under the stadium lights. This version was just getting started. Saturday morning, I was reviewing the photos from last night on my laptop, Blake hitting Nicole, 37 crystal-clear images showing the entire sequence, when someone knocked on my hotel room door. I checked the peephole. A woman in her early 40s stood in the hallway, wearing designer sunglasses and a white linen dress that probably cost more than my camera equipment. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. I opened the door, but kept the chain latched. "Can I help you?" She removed her sunglasses, and I recognized her immediately from Blake's social media photos. Jennifer Morrison, Blake's wife. "Mr. Marsh," she said calmly, "we need to talk. May I come in?" Every instinct told me to refuse, but curiosity won. I unlatched the chain and stepped back. Jennifer walked past me into the room, her eyes taking in the laptop, the scattered evidence folders, the camera equipment. She moved with the confidence of someone accustomed to luxury hotels and getting what she wanted. "Thank you for the package," she said, turning to face me. "It was very thorough." I said nothing. The photos of Blake and your wife were particularly well done. Professional quality. You must be quite good at your job. "What do you want, Mrs. Morrison?" "Jennifer, please." She sat in the desk chair, crossed her legs. "And what I want is to thank you, because you've given me exactly what I needed to finally end my marriage on my terms." That wasn't what I'd expected. "You're welcome?" "You seem surprised." Most wives don't thank the person who sends proof of their husband's affairs. Jennifer smiled, but it was cold. Most wives are surprised. I've known about Blake's cheating for years. This isn't his first affair, Mr. Marsh. It's just the first one that threatens his career. I sat on the bed, studying her. Jennifer Morrison had the polished, maintained look of wealthy Florida women. Professional highlights, subtle cosmetic work, jewelry that cost more than cars. But her eyes were sharp, calculating. "Why are you here?" I asked. "Because you and I want the same thing. We want Blake to lose everything. But your approach, while creative, is incomplete. You're going after his job and his reputation. That's good, but it's not enough." She reached into her designer handbag and pulled out a manila folder, set it on the desk between us. "Blake is not just a cheater, Mr. Marsh. He's a thief. For the past 3 years, he's been embezzling from Meridian. Small amounts hidden in expense reports and vendor contracts. Nothing big enough to trigger immediate red flags, but over time, it adds up to about $400,000. I stared at the folder. "Why haven't you reported this?" "Because I was waiting for the right moment. See, Blake and I have a prenuptial agreement. If I file for divorce, I get a settlement, comfortable, but not equal. But if Blake is fired for cause, if he's proven to have committed crimes, the prenup is void, and I get everything, the house, the investments, his pension, all of it. You've been waiting for him to get caught. I've been waiting for leverage, and you just provided it." Jennifer opened the folder, revealing bank statements, expense reports, emails. "Blake's latest affair with your wife gives me grounds for divorce, but the embezzlement gives me grounds to destroy him financially. Together, we can make sure he loses his job, his reputation, and his money." "Why would you help me?" "I'm not helping you. I'm helping myself. You just happen to be useful." She closed the folder. "Blake will try to fight back. He'll try to intimidate you, threaten you, make you back down. Men like him always do. But with this evidence, he can't win. The question is, do you want revenge or do you want justice? What's the difference? Revenge is making him suffer. Justice is making sure he can't hurt anyone else. Revenge is hot, emotional, satisfying in the moment. Justice is cold, methodical, permanent." She stood, smoothed her dress. Think about it, Mr. Marsh, but don't think too long. Blake's already planning his counterattack. She left the folder on the desk and walked to the door. Mrs. Morrison, Jennifer, I said. Why now? If you've known for years, why are you doing this now? She turned, and for the first time I saw real emotion in her face. Not anger, not sadness, exhaustion. Because I'm tired, she said simply. Tired of pretending. Tired of Blake parading women through his life while I play the good wife. Tired of protecting him because it protects my lifestyle. Your wife wasn't the first, and she won't be the last. But maybe, if we do this right, she'll be the last one he destroys. Then she was gone, expensive perfume lingering in the air. I opened the folder. Bank statements showing regular deposits to offshore accounts. Expense reports claiming thousands in client entertainment that never happened. Emails between Blake and a vendor discussing kickback payments. Proof that Blake Morrison wasn't just an unfaithful husband, he was a criminal. My phone buzzed. Marcus. Hey man, just checking in. You doing okay? Define okay. That bad? Marcus, Blake Morrison's been embezzling from his company for 3 years. Silence. Then, how do you know that? His wife just told me. She wants to help me destroy him. David, this is getting out of control. First the photos, then following him to the hotel. Now you're working with his wife? I didn't plan this. But you're doing it. And every step you take, you're getting deeper into something that could backfire. What if Blake has friends in high places? What if he comes after you legally? Let him try. That's not you talking. That's not the David I know. The David you knew is gone. I looked at the evidence spread across the hotel desk. Blake's crimes, his affairs, his lies. This version? This version doesn't lose. Even if it costs you everything? I've already lost everything that mattered. Marcus sighed. Just be careful. Please. We hung up, and I turned back to Jennifer's folder. She was right about one thing. Blake would fight back. Men like him always did, and I needed to be ready. I spent the next hour organizing Jennifer's evidence, cross-referencing it with what I already had. The embezzlement was sophisticated, small amounts, spread across multiple accounts, hidden in legitimate business expenses. Blake had been careful, but not careful enough. At noon, my phone exploded with notifications. Instagram, Facebook, Google alerts, all showing the same thing. Ronnie's yoga studio was being destroyed online. Review sites showed hundreds of one-star reviews, all posted in the last hour. Terrible instructor, injured my back. Overpriced and unprofessional. Owner is a home wrecker who helps married women cheat. The last one made me smile. Jennifer again. She wasn't just going after Blake. She was going after everyone who'd enabled the affair. Ronnie called. You piece of... David, what did you do? Nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. My studio. Someone's destroying my business with fake reviews. And Richard, my ex-husband, just called saying he's cutting off my alimony because of moral turpitude or some legal... Ronnie, I'm hanging up now. This is because I helped Nicole. Because I covered for her. Actions have consequences. You helped her lie. Now you're dealing with the fallout. You're a psychopath. No, I'm just not the guy you thought you could use. I hung up. My hotel phone rang. The actual room phone. The one I hadn't used once. I picked it up. Mr. Marsh? The front desk clerk sounded nervous. There's a security situation in the lobby. One of our guests is asking for you by name. Hotel security has him, but I'll be right down. I took the elevator to the lobby, already knowing who was waiting. Blake Morrison stood between 2 resort security guards, disheveled, wild-eyed, shouting. He wore rumpled clothes, the same ones from yesterday, and smelled like alcohol. The lobby was full of families, tourists, resort guests watching the scene unfold. Phones were out, recording. Blake saw me and lunged forward. The security guards held him back. You! This is all because of you! Blake was screaming now, all pretense of corporate polish gone. You destroyed my life. You stalked me. You sent lies to my wife. I sent the truth, I said calmly, pulling out my phone to record this. Everything I sent was documented, time-stamped, and real. You're stalking me, following me to my workplace, showing up at the same hotel. I'm a guest here, Mr. Morrison. This is a public resort. I have every right to be here. Blake broke free from one security guard, stumbled forward. I'll destroy you. I have lawyers. I have money. The second guard tackled him, and they both crashed into a lobby planter, dirt and tropical plants scattering across marble tile. Resort guests backed away, children crying, someone screamed. Police sirens outside. Someone had called the cops. Blake was on his back, security guard's knee in his spine, still shouting. He's the stalker! He's following me! He sent photos to my wife! Arrest him! 2 Sarasota County deputies entered the lobby, hands on their belts. What's going on here? The first deputy asked. The security guard spoke up. This man has been drinking, became aggressive with another guest, attempted assault. I wasn't. Blake struggled against the restraints. He's been stalking me. Check his room. He has files on me, photos. The deputy looked at me. Sir, is that true? I'm a photographer, I said, showing him my business card. I've been documenting evidence for my divorce proceedings. This man has been having an affair with my wife. Everything I have is legal evidence. He followed me here. He's at the same hotel. This is a public resort, Mr. Morrison. I'm a registered guest. I haven't approached you, threatened you, or made any contact. You came to the lobby looking for me. The deputy turned to hotel staff. Is that accurate? The desk clerk nodded. Mr. Marsh checked in yesterday. He hasn't caused any problems. This gentleman started shouting and demanding we call Mr. Marsh to the lobby. Blake's face went red. But he's been... The deputy pulled out handcuffs. Sir, I need you to calm down. You're being detained for public disturbance and attempted assault. You can't arrest me. I'm a regional vice president. Sir, you're under arrest. The deputy read him his rights while Blake struggled, still shouting about stalking and harassment and lawyers. They walked him out of the lobby in handcuffs, past shocked guests, past children hiding behind their parents, past at least 20 people recording on their phones. A regional VP of Meridian Resorts, arrested at his own company's hotel during a corporate retreat. The video would be online within minutes. I turned to see Nicole standing near the elevators, face pale, watching Blake being led away. Our eyes met across the lobby. She mouthed something. Maybe I'm sorry, maybe why. I couldn't tell. I walked past her to the elevator without a word. Back in my room, I checked social media. The videos were already viral, shared across Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Meridian Resorts executive arrested during company event. Local news picking it up. Business blogs writing about corporate scandals. Blake Morrison's career was over. My phone rang. Jennifer Morrison. Beautiful work, she said. Blake just made it easy. I didn't plan that. No, but you created the conditions. Blake's unraveling, and when he falls completely, I'll be there to catch all his assets. She paused. My divorce filing goes in Monday. By Tuesday, Meridian will have the embezzlement evidence. Blake will be arrested again, this time for real crimes. And Nicole? She's collateral damage. She knew what she was getting into. Jennifer's voice was ice. Play with fire. Get burned. She hung up. I sat on the hotel bed, surrounded by evidence folders and camera equipment, and realized that I'd crossed a line I couldn't uncross. Blake Morrison was destroying himself, but I'd lit the match. Nicole was losing everything, but I'd started the fire, and I didn't feel guilty at all. Blake made bail Sunday afternoon. His parents posted it, since Jennifer had already frozen their joint accounts. By Monday morning, Meridian Resorts had terminated him for cause after reviewing the ethics investigation. Nicole was placed on administrative leave, pending further investigation. Tuesday, Blake's lawyer sent me a cease and desist letter, delivered by process server to my house. I was photographing the sunrise from my porch when the server arrived. "David Marsh?" "That's me." He handed me an envelope. "You've been served." Inside was 2 pages of legal threats: harassment, stalking, defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Blake Morrison was suing me for $5 million. I called Jennifer Morrison. "I got a lawsuit," I said. "Ignore it. Blake's lawyers are scrambling. He has no case. You documented affairs and ethics violations, which is protected activity in a divorce proceeding. His own behavior at the hotel undermined any credibility he had." She sounded pleased. "My divorce filing went through this morning. Blake's been served, and in about 3 hours, the FBI is going to knock on his door with questions about missing Meridian funds." "The FBI?" "Financial crimes, Mr. Marsh. Once Meridian's audit team found the discrepancies I anonymously reported, they had no choice but to involve federal authorities. Embezzlement across state lines is a federal offense." "You really have thought of everything." "I've had years to plan. You were just the catalyst." Jennifer paused. "Blake's going to come after you one more time. Men like him always need someone to blame. Be ready." She hung up. Wednesday, 2 a.m., my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. A photo of the inside of Blake's Porsche, the driver's seat, taken from the perspective of someone sitting in it. Then, "Nice car. Doors open. Should be more careful." I smiled. Blake would be losing his mind right now, thinking I'd broken into his car. 3 minutes later, my phone rang. Blake, from yet another number. "Stay away from my car. Stay away from my house. I'll call the cops." "And tell them what? That someone took a photo inside your unlocked car? That's not a crime, Blake." "You broke into—" "I didn't break anything. Maybe you should be more careful about locking your doors." I wasn't anywhere near his car. The photo was Jennifer's work, sent through me to maximize Blake's paranoia. "Can't run from consequences, Blake. They're already inside your head." I hung up. 8 a.m., Blake appeared at my door. I'd expected this, had been watching through the window. He looked terrible, unshaven, bloodshot eyes, shaking hands. He'd lost maybe 10 pounds since the football game 3 weeks ago. I opened the door. "What do you want from me?" Blake's voice cracked. "What more do you want?" "I want you to feel what I felt. Powerless, violated, like everything you built was sand. I lost everything. My job, my wife, my house. Jennifer's taking it all. The FBI is investigating me. What more do you want?" "An apology." Blake stared. "What?" "Apologize. For what you did to my marriage. To me. Say you're sorry." He laughed, a broken sound. "You think I'm going to apologize to you?" "I think you should, if you want me to stop." Blake's face twisted with rage and desperation. "Sorry I took what you couldn't keep. Sorry your wife wanted a real man. Sorry you're a boring nobody with a mediocre life." He spat the words. "Is that what you want to hear?" I hit him. Not a closed fist. An open hand, the same way he'd hit Nicole. The sound cracked through my quiet street, echoing off beach houses and palm trees. Blake stumbled backward, hand to his face, blood trickling from his split lip. "That," I said quietly, "is satisfaction. You can sue me for that too, if you want. But if you contact me again, if you come to my house again, I release everything Jennifer gave me. All the embezzlement evidence, all the harassment settlements, everything. And I make sure every news outlet in Florida has your story." Blake touched his bleeding lip, realization dawning. "Jennifer gave you... She's been helping you? Your wife is a very smart woman, Blake. She's been waiting for you to screw up badly enough that she could take everything. I just gave her the opportunity. You two planned this?" "No, but we both benefit from your consequences." Blake backed toward his Porsche, parked crooked in my driveway. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is not seeing what my wife was years ago. You're just collateral damage from that mistake." He drove away, tires squealing. I went inside and immediately called Jennifer. "Blake knows you gave me the embezzlement files." "Good. Let him stew on that. By now, the FBI has served their warrant. Blake's going to be arrested again within 24 hours. When he is, he'll be focused on staying out of federal prison, not on revenge against you." "You're sure? I've been married to him for 16 years. I know how he thinks. When Blake's back is against the wall, he protects himself first. Always." She sounded tired. "This will be over soon, Mr. Marsh, and then we can both move on." That afternoon, Nicole called. "I was fired," she said. Her voice was flat, defeated. "Meridian terminated me for ethics violations. Blake told them I seduced him, that I was the one who pursued the affair." "Did you? Does it matter now?" "No," I admitted. "It doesn't. I can't get a job anywhere. My reputation is destroyed. I can't afford rent without my salary. Ronnie's studio closed, so I can't even stay with her." Nicole was crying, quiet sobs. "I have nothing, David. No job, no money, no friends, nothing." "Then you start over, like I am. How can you be so cold?" "You taught me, Nicole, remember? When you told me I'd never fight back, that I'd just accept whatever you did? You were wrong. I fought, and I won." "Nobody won. We both lost." "Maybe, but at least I'm not the one who threw it away." I hung up. Thursday evening, I got a text from an unknown number. "Construction site. Old Morrison development project on Bee Ridge. Tonight, alone." Blake's final attempt at confrontation. I recognized the address, an abandoned luxury condo development that Blake had started before the 2019 recession killed financing. The property had sat half-finished for 6 years, a monument to Blake's failed ambition. Poetic. I told Marcus where I was going, texted him the address, told him if I wasn't home by 10 p.m. to call the cops. "Don't go," Marcus said over the phone. "Blake's desperate. He could do anything." "That's why I'm going. This ends tonight." The construction site was dark, overgrown with Florida vegetation reclaiming half-built structures. Blake's Porsche sat in the dirt lot, still running, headlights cutting through darkness. I grabbed my camera and walked toward the skeleton of what would have been a luxury building. Blake waited inside, silhouetted against sunset through unfinished walls. "You came," he said. "You asked me to. I wanted you to see this, my failure, what destroyed me before you ever showed up." Blake gestured at the abandoned construction. "Jennifer kept pushing me to build bigger, better. Meridian kept pushing me to show results, and I pushed too hard, borrowed too much, cut too many corners. This was supposed to be my legacy. Instead, it's a tomb. Why am I here, Blake? Because I want you to understand that you didn't destroy me. I was already destroyed. You just accelerated it. That doesn't make what you did to my marriage okay? No." Blake pulled out a folder from his jacket, the same one Jennifer had given me. "Jennifer sent me these, copies of what she gave you, proof of everything I did wrong, the embezzlement, the affairs, the harassment settlements, all of it. She's smarter than both of us. She played us. She used your anger to give her leverage, then used my desperation to trap me." Blake opened the folder, pages scattering in the evening breeze. Bank statements, expense reports, emails, all the evidence of his crimes. "What did you want from all this, David? Revenge? Justice? Or did you just want to feel powerful for once?" "I wanted you to understand consequences." "Well, I understand. The FBI arrested me this morning. Embezzlement, fraud, wire transfer violations. I'm looking at 8 years federal prison, maybe more." "Good." Blake's face twisted. "Good? My life is over. My kids won't talk to me. My wife is taking everything. I'm going to prison. And you say good? You hit my wife. You gaslit her, manipulated her, made her think you loved her while you were just using her. And when you got caught, You tried to intimidate me, threaten me, make me back down. I stepped closer. So, yeah, good. Blake lunged. Not a planned attack, a desperate, clumsy rush. He grabbed my jacket, trying to shove me backward. I twisted, using photographer's reflexes honed from years of quick movements, and threw him off balance. We crashed into a stack of old lumber, both falling, grappling in the dirt. Blake was stronger, but panicked, fighting wildly. I stayed calm, defensive, letting him tire himself out. He swung a piece of wood at me. I rolled, felt it whistle past my ear. Then sirens, red and blue lights strobing through the construction site. Blake froze. You called the cops? No, Jennifer did. She tracked your phone, knew you'd come here. I stood up, brushing dirt off my clothes. She's timing your arrest for maximum impact. Federal charges, local police backup, all coordinated. Police cars surrounded the site, officers stepping out, hands on weapons. Blake Morrison, an officer called. You're in violation of your bail conditions. Hands where we can see them. Blake raised his hands, the folder's pages still scattered around his feet, evidence of all his crimes literally at his feet. They cuffed him, reading rights for the second time in a week, this time for embezzlement, fraud, obstruction, real charges that would stick. Blake looked at me as they led him past. Was it worth it? Destroying me? I didn't destroy you, Blake. You destroyed yourself. I just documented it. They put him in the patrol car, and I watched the taillights disappear into the Florida night. Outside the construction site, Nicole sat in her Lexus, watching everything. She got out as I walked toward my truck. You didn't stop, she said, even when you could have. Would you have? I don't know. Nicole looked small, defeated, nothing like the ambitious marketing director who'd climbed Meridian's corporate ladder. Blake's been telling everyone I seduced him, that I was obsessed, that he tried to end it, but I wouldn't let him. And you want me to believe that's a lie? I don't know what I want anymore. She pulled something from her purse, a flash drive. Blake recorded some of our meetings, audio files. He admitted to hitting me, to manipulating me, to using me for his ego. I thought you should have these, in case you still care about the truth. I took the flash drive. Why are you giving me this? Because I watched you destroy Blake piece by piece, and I realized you were right. He was a monster, and I was too stupid or too ambitious to see it until it was too late. Nicole wiped her eyes. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. But I wanted you to know that not everything you believed about us was wrong. I did love you once. I just forgot. I forgave you, I said. Yesterday, actually. Not for you, for me. Because holding on to hate was turning me into someone I didn't recognize. But you still destroyed Blake. That wasn't about you. That was about consequences. Blake hurt people, broke laws, used his power to escape punishment. He needed to be stopped. And now you're the hero? No, I'm just the photographer who documented the evidence. What people do with it isn't my responsibility. Nicole got back in her Lexus. I'm moving to Tampa, starting over, entry-level marketing position. No recommendations, no connections, just me. Good luck. David. She paused before closing her door. Do you hate me? No, I hate what you did. But hating you takes energy I don't have anymore. She drove away, and I stood alone in the construction site parking lot, surrounded by Blake's abandoned dreams and my own shattered marriage. My phone buzzed. News alert. Former Meridian Resorts VP Blake Morrison arrested on federal embezzlement charges. The story was everywhere. Local news, business journals, social media. Blake's carefully constructed reputation crumbling in real time. I deleted the alert and drove home. 1 week later, I was packing. The beach house had been listed with a realtor. Everything inside was being sorted into boxes. Keep, donate, trash. My photography equipment was already loaded in my truck. The rest could be shipped wherever I ended up. Marcus helped me pack the living room, wrapping glassware in newspaper. Where are you going? North. Maybe North Carolina. Maybe Vermont. Somewhere with seasons. I'm tired of endless summer. Running away? Starting over. There's a difference. Derek arrived with more boxes, looking around at the half-empty house. Boss, why are you leaving? You're like a legend now. Everyone's talking about how you took down that corrupt VP. I didn't take anyone down. I just told the truth. Still, you won. You got revenge. Why leave? Because winning didn't feel how I thought it would, I said honestly. Blake's in prison, Nicole's starting over, Jennifer got her divorce and her money. And me? I'm here packing boxes in an empty house, feeling nothing. Marcus stopped wrapping glasses. You're not nothing. I'm not angry anymore either. That's the problem. Anger gave me purpose. Now I'm just hollow. We worked in silence for a while, the gulf visible through the windows, waves rolling in like they'd done for millions of years, indifferent to human drama. The doorbell rang. Nicole stood on my porch looking different. Her hair was shorter, simpler. No designer clothes, just jeans and a plain shirt. She carried a manila folder. I wanted to tell you in person, she said. I pressed charges against Blake for hitting me in the parking garage. The prosecutor says with your photos and the audio recordings, they have a strong case. Good. And I wanted to give you this. She handed me the folder. Our divorce papers, already signed. I'm not asking for anything except my personal belongings. The house, the savings, everything. It's yours. I took the folder. Why? Because you were right. About everything. I was ambitious and selfish and stupid. I threw away something real for something that was always a lie. Nicole looked past me into the house. And now we're both starting over. At least let me start by doing one thing right. Okay. We stood there, two people who'd once loved each other, now strangers connected only by legal documents and shared history. Will you ever forgive me? She asked. I already did. For me, not for you. Holding on to it was destroying me. That's more than I deserve. Probably, but I'm tired of keeping score. Nicole smiled, sad and genuine. Goodbye, David. Goodbye, Nicole. She walked to her Lexus, the same car she'd driven to meet Blake at the football game. But this time, she drove away alone, heading toward whatever came next. I went back inside, where Marcus and Derek were pretending they hadn't been listening. That was big, Marcus said. Yeah. You okay? I will be. My phone buzzed. News alert. Blake Morrison sentenced to 8 years federal prison for embezzlement. The article included details: guilty plea, restitution ordered, federal prison facility in Georgia. Blake's lawyer claimed his client was remorseful and looked forward to rehabilitation. I read it once, then deleted the alert. Marcus watched me. Don't you feel satisfied? He's going to prison. I feel relieved. That's different than satisfied. What's the difference? Satisfaction would mean I enjoyed this. Relief means it's finally over. We finished packing by sunset. Derek left first, taking a load of boxes to storage. Marcus stayed, helping me clean, neither of us talking much. You really staying cold? Marcus finally asked. After everything? No, I'm thawing, finally. What does that mean? It means the guy who wanted Blake Morrison to suffer? That guy served his purpose. Now I need to figure out who I am when I'm not angry. Marcus pulled me into a hug, the kind men only give each other in moments that matter. Call me when you get wherever you're going. I will. After he left, I stood alone in the empty house, watching sunset paint the gulf in oranges and purples. My camera sat on the counter, lens cap off, ready. I picked it up and walked to the porch, photographed the sunset, the beach, the water. Not for documentation or evidence or revenge, just because it was beautiful. My phone buzzed one more time. Jennifer Morrison. Divorce finalized. Got everything. Blake's assets seized for restitution. Thank you for your help. Good luck with whatever comes next. I didn't respond. Jennifer Morrison had gotten what she wanted. Blake's money, his house, his legacy. We'd both used each other, both won our separate wars. But winning felt empty. I loaded the last box into my truck, locked the house, left the keys in the realtor's lockbox. Everything I owned fit in a Toyota Tacoma and a storage unit. Everything I'd built with Nicole was being dissolved by lawyers and divided by appraisers. I drove away from the beach house as the last light faded from the sky, camera on the passenger seat, GPS set to nowhere in particular. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. They're wrong. Revenge isn't served at all. It eats you from inside until you're as hollow as the people who hurt you. I got my justice. Blake was in prison. Nicole was starting over. Jennifer had her money. But the cost was becoming someone I didn't recognize. Someone who could watch a man's life crumble and feel nothing. Someone who could orchestrate destruction and call it consequences. Maybe in the next place, the next life, I'd find the man I used to be. The one who believed in forgiveness and second chances and the basic goodness of people. Or maybe I'd find someone better. Someone who learned that the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And I was finally, blissfully indifferent. The truck disappeared into the darkness, camera on the dashboard still recording, capturing nothing but the road ahead and the life I was leaving behind.